Hello kittens, welcome back to Seb the Cat. Today we are building a 2D multiplayer game using the Godot game engine, and we are using an Elixir server as our sort of multiplayer networking solution. So the thing about Godot is it's really good for sort of small numbered multiplayer games, maybe up to 4 players, but all the connections are peer-to-peer. And what we're wanting to build is something that scales way beyond that to hundreds of players, hopefully. We're still building the basic gameplay in Godot, and we've only got the very basic game connection working between the Elixir server and Godot. But today we're just focusing on getting our chain to build behind the player. So the idea of the game is that you're a little spaceship and you fly around sort of like some mazes in space, and the server randomly generates some letters of the alphabet and some characters and punctuation and stuff like that. And they're sort of like collectibles, and you can zoom around collecting letters, building a long sort of snake tail of messages. And so when you're playing with other people, you'll see people zooming past with random collections of letters, and we're going to try and build maybe some puzzle mechanics in. So, you can only go through certain areas if, you have a word of at least 3 characters, for instance, or maybe one of the puzzles might be to collect the letters to write a color. That sort of thing. But our previous stream, we just did a little bit of refactoring, and I will switch over to Godot and let you see how we're getting on. Okay, so this is just our tutorial level. Nothing special just yet. We have some basic obstacles set up, which are meteors. We'll be adding a randomly generated sort of maze, I think, later on. But these meteors give us something tangible to sort of fly around. And I might actually just move these a little further apart because they can be a bit difficult to navigate, I'll be honest. And now these little orange dots, these are what I'm calling in the game bubbles. And bubbles contain the letters that you'll pick up and add to your player's tail. Right? Okay. And so the player starts with like a little initial tail. And as we collect bubbles, we expect the player's tail to grow. So that's what we're working on today, right now. Let me just check how we've got everything set up. Cool. All right. So we've just done a big refactor. I'm not too sure how everything is going to work, if at all. We do actually have some unit tests. Okay, cool. So I think we're going to just start off by solving a couple of errors as we go. So our bubble 18, there's some sort of error there. So that's going to be, in the levels, level objects, bubble, line 18, return result. Okay, that should probably have been there. So the die function, we're just putting it there. In fact, no, there's no reason to put it there yet. Right? I believe in Yagni. You ain't gonna need it. So why is that complaining? Tabs and It's a bit odd, isn't it? Okay, cool. Alright, so that should have got rid of that error. So let's try again. Alright. Can't preload resource at player start link tail state. Yes, that makes sense. So we moved the tail state up into the player. So let's find that start link and just fix that. Okay, so we can just delete that. And in fact, the start link, I'm just going to delete this. Let's detach the script first and just delete it because we shouldn't need that anymore. So we've essentially made this sort of a dumb component almost. Okay, so I'm just going to detach the script and then delete it. Cool, and save that. So process okay, so in the ship we forgot to accept a delta here in the process. And that's easy enough. So I don't think we actually need any delta in this. So let's just give it an underscore to show we're not using it. So everything that requires delta is going to happen in the physics process. Okay. I guess I'm just going to put an underscore there. Because like we're not using it right now, but it's conceivable we'll use it in the future, right? Okay. Delta isn't declared in current scope. Okay. Where is that coming from? Ship 35. Oh, so we are actually using delta. Okay. Yep. Screw it. Let's just use delta then. Alright. Emit isn't. Okay, so emit isn't declared in the current class. That is odd. So I used to be a game developer about, how long would it be? 15 years ago. And then I got into like web development and infrastructure stuff. So I'm not actually very experienced with Godot, so you're going to have to bear with me. I used to actually do a lot of Flash development. That's sort of how I started programming. And that's why I really like Godot. It reminds me a lot of that workflow. It's just very developer focused, which I think is really nice. So I'm still getting familiar with this concept of signals in Godot. And I'm pretty sure you just emit it. I'm not sure why it's complaining. Emit signal. Okay, that's my bad. I thought it was just emit. I think I'm getting confused with Vue.js. Okay, cool. Alrighty then. So let's try again. Can't preload player tail state at player 2. That is fine. tail state needs an extension, so we put that in there. Okay, player 9. Okay. Yeah. Normally I wouldn't do like a massive refactor like this, but because the project is still very new, I felt comfortable. Like, I think there's only really like 5 major classes in this game so far, so value okay. Okay, what's happening here? The identifier chain links isn't declared. Chain links. Alright, yep. So we forgot to, when we moved this behavior, we forgot to define this. Okay, cool. So that's now just a simple array. And what are you complaining about, Mr. Yellow? Variable I is declared but never used. Okay, yep. Sweet. Alright, so it looks like our game is now running, but our tail is not correctly connecting to the player, and it feels like gravity is just a little bit too much for my propulsion, and I know why that is. So what we did is we actually moved our velocity processing into the frame process instead of the physics system. Not all of the velocity processing, so the part of the code that reads the keyboard events and then adjusts the propulsion based on the keyboard. We don't do that as part of the physics